Hey, this is Monique. Welcome to One Mo Project. I'm going to show you how I took a sleeveless dress and added fabric from another dress so that it became a cold shoulder dress instead of a sleeveless dress. And as a bonus at the end, I'll show you what I did with the dress that was just for the fabric. All right, let's see what happens. So Martha showed up with this, her sleeveless dress with a sleeve-ish kind of attached to the side, and this is something where she had just laid out a blouse she had that had the kind of sleeve she wanted and traced it and then cut it out and pinned it on to make sure it's what she wanted. However, we wanted to make it a little fuller on the bottom without changing where it hit on her arm at the top, so I measured how long it was across the top and across the bottom. I kept this same armhole and side seam there, but then I changed it so that the bottom edge would be fuller and made the top edge more round but not bigger. So then picked the length for how long it's going to be and drew a line, and there I have a pattern, and I'm going to cut that on the fold. Nice. So this is the extra dress, and since it's this lace overlay, I didn't want the lining. I thought the sleeve didn't need lining. That was unnecessary. So there, I've gotten the dress straight and folded it in half. So I have 4 layers of fabric here. And when I was trying to get the pattern piece on there, I started with it one way and flipped it over. But then at the end, for what we did with the second dress, this turned out to be a good thing, but I didn't know it at the time. I was just making sure that we could get the sleeve. The priority was to fix the sleeveless dress so that it was something that Martha would enjoy wearing. So pinned that in place, because that paper I have wants to roll up so bad. That would have been crazy to try to cut it with it rolling away. So cut that out, and see, I didn't cut there on that in the middle because I cut it on the fold, and that's what that mark was. So there, now I have the sleeve, or 2 of them. They're a little fuller than the little sample that she had on there when she showed up. So I'm going to sew up this side seam first, and I just went ahead and did a 5/8 seam on that all the way across, and then trimmed it down so that the 2 edges were even. And it was weird because it was the big hole part of the lace, but cut those till they were even. And then I set my machine to the widest zigzag I could. Now, my machine has some special feed and has an overcast and can do some things like that, but this was just such a short little seam. I just wanted to keep it neat. So I set it to the widest zigzag I could and let it fall off to the right. And then I hemmed across the top and across the bottom, but left, I didn't hem obviously in where the armhole was going to be. So just a narrow hem, just rolled it twice and hemmed around across that top edge. I think I had trouble getting it to bite at the beginning because sometimes the laces, there's nothing there, but got it to bite. And sew across the top edge and then sew all the way around the bottom edge so that they're both hemmed before I put them in the dress. It's just easier than trying to flip all the dress around. I did make sure that I was sewing on the right side, the side that's going to be the wrong side where the seam is, and sewed all the way around that bottom edge. If you were doing this with a fabric that wasn't lace, it can be a little challenging to sew something that's that rounded, but the lace is so forgiving it wasn't a problem. So now time to put it into the dress. I put safety pins in at the top edge of where Martha had her little white sleeve there to begin with. So I started by pinning the top edge of the new sleeve at where the safety pin is, which is where the top was when it was white. But then when I checked it to make sure it was the right length, see across there, down across and back up, and it was. So that was good that had worked out. But I pinned that sleeve in place, and then I'm going to sew it where the seam is for the hem. Guess you call it a hem. Yeah, sure. Where it's hemmed on the inside of the dress, where that sleeve opening is hemmed. I did take the safety pins out. Sewing over pins, it's not terrible. It's not always good, but it's not terrible. But sewing over safety pins, that seems like a bad idea. So I took those out and sewed around it. And then I did the same thing with the zigzag. Set my zigzag as wide as it would go and let the needle fall off to the right, to the inside of the machine, as I sewed around, just to keep it neater inside. This lace isn't going to ravel, but it just was going to make it a neater look on the inside to not have that raw edge dangling out there. So wide zigzag and just sewed all the way around that armhole opening there. Little back stitch there at the end to hold it. And then I have the two, because I magically did the other one when you weren't looking. But I have the two sleeves in place. So that was what the original goal of changing the dress was. Now, the bonus is going to be that the leftover dress, you know, she got it really cheap at TJ Maxx, and so she got this extra one just for the fabric. But when I picked it up to look at what I had, I thought maybe I'd cut it off and, you know, make it a shirt for her to give her sister or something. But it was kind of a fun shape. Because it had the underlining, there was still a whole dress there. So I just hemmed it at where I had taken it out. So there's Martha with her new sleeves. And here, see, look how good that is. That's just better, makes her feel better than being sleeveless. And here is the one that is the extra fabric dress. Thanks for watching. I hope that was fun. Anyway, remember that we are God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus, to do good works which He prepared in advance for us to do. See you next time.